If you want to be a filmmaker, this is the most important question that you need to ask at every single phase of development, in every single department, for every project. And that question is, why? It's a never-ending list of whys. Why is this happening? Why is this character saying this? Why is this character doing this? Why is this character wearing this color? Why is their hair like that? Why is the lighting like that? Why this location? Every single department, with few exceptions, when you're on set, needs to know the whys of things. The producers need to know the whys so that they can justify the money that they're putting towards those things. The director needs to know the whys because the director is the one largely who has the answers to all those whys. So you need to figure it out. And before you get a director on board, the writer is the person who needs to know the whys for all of this, but the producer also needs to know the why. So you need to tell the producer because again, they're campaigning for your project. So they need to understand why this is happening. The actors need to know why in order to give a believable, authentic performance. The camera department needs to know why this framing, why this focal length, why this frame rate, why this f-stop, why this lighting, why? Always why? Because all of that should be part of the visual storytelling, the visual aesthetics that are helping to tell your story through the visuals and not just through the content of the story alone. So they need to understand why. They need to understand why this color temperature. Art department, production design, props, wardrobe, hair, makeup, all of these people, they need to know why. Why this color? Why would this character never wear that? They need to understand that in order to make effective decisions that will help tell this story, and all of these nuances will come together and elevate your project into something really solid. The more you ask why, the more it chips away and hones your project into something undeniable. They might not like your choices, but you made your choices for informed reasons and for real reasons and not for just, I thought it was cool. Like, that is the worst answer ever. You know, figure out why this is helping to tell your story. The editors need to know why. Why are these characters doing all these things? Why this, why that? And because then they can help carve out what is the best telling of this story. Post sound department also needs to know why, so they can help build the feeling and the suspense through the ambient sounds or, various sound effects, or, maybe they do something cool where they muffle the dialogue to create this feeling of claustrophobia. Whatever it is that's going on, they need to know why. And this is really true outside of production and post-production. When you're in development, you need to know the whys of the project. And again, this is typically the writer and then the producer, or producer then writer. But you need to know why these things are happening in order to hone your script into, again, something that's going to be undeniable. Your producer needs to know why so they can go out and campaign for your film, get the money, bring in the actors, find the locations and the things that you need. All of that stuff, they need to understand why. And for every grant that you're writing, every competition that you're putting into, every pitch deck you're putting together, you need to be able to answer why this project, why you as the filmmaker for this project, and why now. These are the three big whys that you need to know when you're going forward with a project. So why? It's like talking to a 2-year-old. It's a never-ending list of whys. The more you ask, the more it will challenge the project and the holes or the weaknesses that might exist. We all have blind spots. As writers, as directors, there might be moments where I've gotten asked why something, and I honestly hadn't thought about it. And I have to go, you know what? I don't know, but let me figure it out. I have to be able to come up with an answer that works with all the things that are happening in the script, or else it falls apart. So the more you can ask why from every department, the only departments where why really doesn't matter is production sound, because your job in production sound is just to record the cleanest dialogue possible. And it doesn't really matter why. You just need to get it. That's all you need to do. And script supervisor, you don't really need to know why. You just need to track the continuity of things, and you need to make sure that everything is covered and has different angles, whatever. So there are a few kind of technical things, if you're a grip, you're working under the gaffer and all the G&Es, like you don't necessarily need to know why, but it might help you as you rise through the ranks to understand how these aesthetic and artistic choices are made when making a movie. So, why?